We've had an inquiry from a user who has a major list of plant names in an Excel spreadsheet and the question is, can you use that information in gCADPlus? Well, the answer is you can, but there are some small restrictions. The plant database file that is delivered with gCADPlus we call GardenCAD. Notice that it ends in the extension GCP, and it has columns for botanical name, common name, type, code, pot size, cost, custom, height and width. If you want to use an Excel spreadsheet set of information, you need to write that information out after you've added some columns to the information. You need to have the columns in the right order. So we want botanical name followed by common name followed by type, code, pot size, cost, custom, and we've added an extra one which is not yet part of the plant schedule generation tool, but maybe in the future. But this information is used to automate the production of plant schedules. So what I've done now is had a look on the internet and downloaded a little sample Excel plant list. So let's have a look at it. Well, here's the list that I downloaded, and you notice that in this case there are only 2 columns, and that's fine. In order to get it into a form where we can write it out in a form that becomes a GCP or plant database file for gCADPlus, we need to add those extra columns and we need to just have a standard list. So we need to remove those which are useful when you're using it as an Excel spreadsheet and just make a list. So I've begun doing that now. Let's move to it. So I've taken out all those extraneous rows and I'm just beginning to add to row 1 the code, then pot size, then we want cost, and then custom, and in the GardenCAD example it was then height multiplied by width, and we're now at a point where we can save it in a form that gCADPlus can use. You may have noticed that the column containing botanical name, each of these had an asterisk by them. Now we're going to save the Excel spreadsheet as a space delimited file, and the space and then the asterisk is in fact going to give a problem. So what I did was use find and select and replace the asterisk with a blank entry, and that cleaned everything up. So at this point we can now, this is in Excel format, we can now save it. We'll now want to save it, so it's File, Save As. We're going to browse and put the file in here. We'll call it Test. And we're going to change the format to the, we're going to change the format here, and and it's quite easy to get confused. What we want is tab delimited. I think I might have said comma delimited first. So it's a file called test.txt. We might be able to simply, no, we might be able to just put GCP here, and I'll show you what happens. Save, and we'll close from Excel and we'll go here. Now we should have one called, I'll refresh it, one called test GCP text. So this is the format that we want. We just rename it, or remove, in this case, the txt, and we've got a file called test.gcp. Let's go into back here. We're going to say plant schedule, attach one. There's our test one. We open it up. I'm going to replace the existing one, and there we are. It's now in the form that gCADPlus understands. We can sort and do all sorts of ways. Sort these alphabetically in common name and so on. So there's a lot you can do with it. Particularly you can do a design, tag all your symbols, and then generate a plant schedule. So I'm sorry that's taken a little bit of time and a little bit messy, but the instructions on the website are clear enough, I think.